Minnesota State Patrol says that we're seeing more lane splitting by motorcyclists. Under certain parameters, it is a legal maneuver now. Tonight, KEYC News Now reporter Kate Jones has this reminder of the change in state law for all drivers.
We are now in the thick of the 100 deadliest days, and it's almost been a year since lane splitting and filtering has been legal for motorcyclists in Minnesota. This allows motorcycles to share lanes with cars in certain cases. Lane splitting allows a motorcycle to share a lane and pass a car in slow-moving traffic. If they wish to do so, there must be 2 or more lanes of traffic traveling in the same direction. This can only be done if the vehicles are going under 25 miles per hour, and the motorcyclist cannot go above 15 miles per hour over the speed of traffic. Lane filtering allows motorcycles to move through stopped traffic, such as at a stoplight or a traffic jam.
For a motorcycle, you really need to stay moving to not overheat. So you just keep moving. You're not stuck in lines of traffic. You just go to the front, zip right along.
Both splitting and filtering are not allowed in roundabouts, school zones, on-ramps, and in single-lane construction zones. This law does make it safer for motorcyclists, according to BMW Club Motorcycle Owners of Minnesota.
One of the worst fears that I have, and most motorcyclists have, is being rear-ended. So when the cars are stopped, you just keep moving, and it is safer than sitting there behind another car that you don't want to get smashed into the car in front of you.
Now, it is the responsibility of the motorcyclist to determine if splitting and filtering is safe to do so. Motorists must be aware of motorcycles in slow-moving traffic. In order to ensure safety for all this summer, be aware, courteous, and respectful in the roads. Reporting in Mankato, Kate Jones, KEYC News Now.
State Patrol Sergeant Troy Christensen says that there has been an increase in motorcycle fatalities this year compared to last year. Although the deaths are not specific to the change in law, he does want to remind motorcyclists that they're not required to participate in splitting and filtering. Rather, it should be used by experienced bikers who feel comfortable doing so.